Okay, so next, number 6 on my list is OPSM demos. Now, if you're not an English viewer who sort of grew up in the 90s, you probably don't even know what OPSM is, but OPSM stands for Official PlayStation Magazine, and it was for the PlayStation 1. And when the PlayStation 1 was out, these are the things that kept you going, because when you're a kid, you don't have any kind of income to sort of spend on games whenever you wanted to. It was either waiting for birthdays and Christmases and stuff, or if we managed to get pester our parents enough, we can get a game. But generally, it was the demos. So OPSM had demos on their discs, on their magazines, and we get the discs and we'd play them for hours. We'd play games we'd never even think of buying, and we still get loads of fun out of it. And that's the funny thing about it. I mean, play games that I just wouldn't be interested in, or have never even played the original version of, but still had really loads of fun with them. And it just kept me going. Get us that next release date, or the next birthday, or the next Christmas. Just playing over and over again was just excellent. I mean, OPSM kept me gaming longer, really. Kept that flame alive. Okay, so number 5 is trading in. Now, you can apply this to pretty much any kind of medium, whatever it might be. But trading in games is always so useful. Again, back when you're younger, it was harder. You didn't have a lot of money, but when you had games, you kind of had money in a way, because you could sort of trade the games in and get newer games or get some money off, and it was always helpful, because honestly I wasn't that kind of person who was a collector. I didn't really collect games. I've never been that sort of person. So you just get rid of them as soon as you play them out, just sell them on and get something new, and that's what we used to do. And it was just really like that sort of way you could sort of do that with gaming. I bought many second-hand games. Sometimes they screwed up, but that's what happens. Still, second-hand trading in, always a positive in my eyes. Oh, it's okay. The next number on my list is number 4. And this is Vandal Hearts. Now, this is a game that not many people know about. It was a strategy RPG back in the mid-90s, I think it was 1996, 1997. But this was the start of my love for role-playing games, because it introduced me to something I've never seen before. PlayStation 1 being still pretty new in the mid-90s, it was seeing that game was a hell of a lot of departure from what I had before, which was coming from playing Game Boys and playing Commodore systems, what we used to have. I mean, if there's a good chance, if I didn't play Vandal Hearts and I didn't get into RPGs, I may have gone a completely different route as far as gaming is concerned. I may have been more of a casual gamer when I was younger, but I think Vandal Hearts really just kept me going on the niche games, but not so popular games, and you can find some really good hidden gems out there when you're playing, when you're getting games. So, but yeah, Vandal Hearts is always close to my heart. It's just a really good game. I'm glad I've managed to play it. I'm just of having that experience and playing it, and it leads to other things, for me anyway. That's that. Okay, so number 3 is the PlayStation. So the PlayStation console itself. Getting this was just an amazing experience. I mean, people have probably had their own experiences with their Nintendos, where they had. The PlayStation was probably our really first proper console I had. Love it. It's just amazing. It's an amazing console. In my opinion, it's the king of consoles back in its era. But don't get me wrong. I'm not bigging up Sony. I'm not a fanboy or anything. But when you're younger, you didn't really have, you don't have the money, the income to just go and buy whatever you wanted whenever you wanted. And to be honest, I can't even remember why we decided to get a PlayStation, not a Nintendo console or a Sega console. It kind of just happened, I can't remember why I said when I was younger, I want that one. That's the one I want. I want the PlayStation 1 when a mate of mine. I don't remember. Can anyone remember why they chose what they chose? I really don't. I mean, it just sort of happened. But I'm glad it happened, because the PlayStation 1 is just an experience, and the choice, the range of games that you had on the PlayStation, it was just amazing. I know there was a lot of rubbish. It was true. And there were a load of hidden gems, and obviously the well-known franchises and stuff like that. So that was number 3 on my list. Okay, so number 2 is the Final Fantasy series. Now, I had a PlayStation. PlayStation 1 was my first proper console. I never had any of the early Nintendo consoles, so I missed out on the early Final Fantasy series. But once 7 came out, it was, blown away by that, the actual series, the game itself, and the first 3 on the PlayStation 1 and then the Final Fantasy X on the PlayStation 2 were some of the best experiences I've had in gaming. It was just, the epicness of it all. But one thing that really I take from that series is the music. The composing is just phenomenal. I don't think I've ever heard of any better music in a computer game series than that. It seems from 7 to 10 they had uniqueness all the way through their tracks. Every single one had sort of a kind of style, and it was just even sort of like mundane stuff when you're walking around towns and stuff and buying potions, whatever it is. There was always like a track or a theme. It was a lot of care taken into their making the music, and I'm very often listening to Final Fantasy music. What can I say? From 7 to 10, I can take at least 5 songs that I like from every single one of those games. It's just from the action sort of packed battle musics and the emotional scores and stuff. It's just, I can't fault it. As far as music composing in computer games is gone, I don't think any series comes as close to Final Fantasy series. Alright, so that's my top 9 is Suikoden 2 on the PlayStation 1. And this RPG, now before I sort of get into any detail, I particularly didn't like Suikoden 2's second half. Kind of looking back in it now, it's more nostalgic for me, but the second half of the game, I found it was a little bit bland actually, and very underwhelming. But the reason that it was underwhelming, the reason it was bland and a little bit flat, was because the first half of the game is the greatest experience I've ever had in any game in my 15 years or so of playing computer games. I don't think I've had such a good time experiencing all the things that are in that first half of that game. I'd heard, I played Suikoden 1. It wasn't like I skipped the game. I did play the first one. It was a great game, memorable, but that was it. But then you heard the sequel, and it was just amazing. I think almost the first half of that game, almost every single part of that first half of that game for me is just epic. You had interesting characters, you had a really good story, you had a really, really badass antagonist in Luca Blight. You had humour, sadness, intrigue. You had sort of the magic. Neckcrawler returned from the first game, and music. Man, more. What is it with RPGs and music? They mix together so well. They do. Absolutely amazed by the music. It's just crazy. Music, the score for Suikoden 2 is absolutely brilliant. I still get emotional listening to Reminiscence, Retrospection, whatever you want to call it, that track just after Jowie and Ryu jump off the cliff near the beginning of the game. It's just blowing me away. It's really, really good track. And in my opinion, that first half of gaming has not been bested in my own sort of personal gaming experiences. Still to this day has not been bested by any game for being just as purely entertainment and just fun, really, and a good story and characters and stuff I've touched on. So, if you've never played Suikoden 2 and you're an RPG fan, play Suikoden 2. Guarantee you'll enjoy it. It is on the dated side. It was back in 1990, 1998, 1999, so it will be a little bit dated, but you'll get great entertainment out of it. That first half especially. It's just going to be so good. Okay, so that's my audio done. My top 10 defining moments in games and gaming for me. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this. If you are listening to this, thank you very much. If you are, again, just a last apology for my quality. If my voice is awful, please tell me and I'll try and do something about it. If I'm too quiet, tell me. If I'm too loud, tell me. Whatever. But just thank you for listening. If you are, I'll try to do more of these, hopefully with hardware, make a real good go of it. But thank you for listening. If you are again, this has been D-Ball Pompey Returns, and I'm signing out of here. So thank you. Bye bye.